Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming podcast. Today is the 15th April of 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be one of your hosts for the evening. The second host is Tygergamer. Hello Tiger, how are you doing?
Great, how about you?
Right now I'm doing good, but this week just been awful altogether.
Yeah, from what you told me, yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, those of you who watch the daily news, you already know, but to the other ones, I had a little bit of a trip to the hospital as I had an epileptic seizure, had to spend 3 days at the hospital, got some anti-epileptic drugs, and it seems now I'm a certified epileptic. Do you know what's the worst thing? I can't drive a car for a year.
Dang.
That's just so irritating. You know what? Especially I'm so used to driving everywhere. It's not as bad as it would have been in America because we at least have good public transportation systems. Like I can get around, but still it's just everything takes double the time, and I'm probably going to have to quit my teaching job because, well, for example, right now on Tuesday I'm teaching a class to a lady, and the class itself takes about an hour and a half, and it takes me about 10 minutes to get there by car, so you know that's okay. It takes me 50 minutes to get there by bus.
Dang.
So I would be essentially spending 2 hours in the bus to teach an hour and a half of English, and it's just not worth it.
Dang, yeah, I can see that.
So I'm actually thinking about like finding something a bit more, classical in the way of I would go to work at 8, quit at 4, and then go home and be able to do my SteemTrail job.
Yeah.
I've actually had like an idea for the future, but that's like a long-term idea. But I was thinking that I could start like a gaming cafe.
Oh, there you go.
But first I wanted to go work in one to see whether it's profitable and what exactly would that entail. And while I would be working there, I could be saving money, to actually like have the capital to start something like that. It's not like I don't have any money saved, and on top of that my family would be willing to help me, but I don't want to like just jump into it. I first want some experience. But that's like the long-term plan for a few years ahead, to start a gaming cafe, to like have tournaments for games, and whether it's PC games or board games, and sell stuff like board games. So that's my long-term plan for the time being.
Okay. Well, hey, go for it. I hope it works out well for you. But hey, we're here to talk about actual gaming.
Okay, so well, I've been in the hospital for 3 days, so I haven't gotten to play as much as I would wished. Yeah. So what have you been playing this week?
First off, I played a generic game called Extinction.
Oh, I actually played that as well. I've played about 2 hours of that. I'd say.
Which mission did you make it to?
Like the 4th. I was like looking for stuff that was not there. Just. Well, how would you call that game if you were to summarize it in one word?
The best way I could summarize it is attack. Well, this will be in one. I would say generic, but I'd say. And not in one word, but the best way I can describe it is a combination of Attack on Titan and Shadow of the Colossus, but the execution is not as great as other games.
Yeah, I would call it boring.
Yeah, that too.
Like it looks decent. I will give them that. It doesn't look bad, but there just isn't anything really of interest in that game. Like I find myself just skipping the story because it was taking too long for them to explain the story, and I wasn't that interested in it. The combat was insanely bland.
Yeah.
And I noticed that there are things like combos, but I just didn't give a shit about them. They're just, yeah, just going to spam my attack and quickly kill these things.
Yeah.
And then there was like the big guys. Yeah, cool. I just slap their heads off in one attack. That's really fun. No work for it at all.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. I actually played I made it a little bit farther than you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I made it to like mission 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, thankfully, they do have like variants, but not too much variants in the game.
Yeah. To me, it seems like it was a good effort from the visual and coder guys, but they didn't have good enough of a game designer to come up with ideas actually for the people doing the technical part.
Yeah.
And that's sort of sad. Usually it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Well, what else did you get to play other than Extinction?
I got to play this game called RoboCraft on Xbox One.
Okay. I think that's like a free-to-play game on PC for some time already, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. I do know this, like, it first came out back like in 2012, 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been on PC for a while, but it just came out to Xbox One like a few days ago, I know. And I actually got to play it for free since I'm a member of Game Pass, so...
On PC, I think it's just completely free. Let me quickly check. Yeah, it's a free-to-play game. There are obviously bundles you can buy in game, so...
yeah.
It's been out for, well, like half a year. Maybe even more on PC.
Actually,
came out in August.
Okay. I do know that the game was like in early... like in beta, back like in 2012, 2013, so... Yeah.
And how is it in terms of its fun factor?
I would say the best part of the game is actually building your own robot and seeing how it fares against other players' robots.
Yeah, that's sort of the point of the game as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it is, but... yeah, I played about like an hour or two of it, and I was like, huh, not bad since I got to play it. Got it from Game Pass, so...
What sort of robot did you build?
Well, I just kept on adding on to it. It was like first it was like a tank with like 2 legs. Then I started like building out from it. Started adding more legs, more lasers. I made it absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, the only other game I got to play this week is called Tower of Time. And if I was to describe this... so, have you ever played any MMO game?
Yes, I have.
And you know the part where you go into dungeons there, right?
Yeah.
So, Tower of Time seems like a single-player way to get that dungeoneering experience. And it's actually pretty good. I would actually recommend it. You have to think about how to approach battles. You have to think about cooldowns. I do wish there was a better way to, like a way to play it easier in multiplayer, because I can imagine this would be amazing with like a few friends just to play and try to cooperate. And yeah, it's pretty good. It costs $21, which is just awkward price. I don't know why it's $21. And it's not on sale, it's just its price.
Oh, wow.
It's just like super weird. But yeah, it actually is decent. I will probably not be making a review of it, as it is too big of a game for a review on.
Yeah.
On my taste. But yeah, if you like dungeon crawling games, if you like anything the sort of style of Diablo, then you will have your fun with it. And the probably most interesting thing is there is a slow time option. So you can essentially like go into a fight and slow time, plan everything perfectly, and then just execute it. And you played any of the old Might and Magic games? Not Heroes of Might and Magic, but just the old Might and Magic RPGs.
No, I have not.
Those actually had a similar mechanic. It wasn't a slow time mechanic. It was just a pause. Like, you could switch between real-time combat and, turn-based combat.
Yeah.
And I grew on those RPGs, so it reminded me of that to a degree. The difference here is this is like a third-person view dungeon crawler. That was a first-person party view old-school RPG. Okay. But, yeah... good game. It looks decent. It plays decent. I really enjoyed the music.
Awesome.
So yeah, and as far as I'm seeing, the vast majority of people who bought this actually gave it a positive review.
Huh.
Which is always nice.
Heck yeah.
Okay, you got to play anything else this week?
Nope. How about you?
No. The rest of the time was me lying in the hospital being bored.
Yeah, I bet.
So boring. Like, there wasn't even internet there, so... I asked my girlfriend to bring me a few books. I read, like, 8 books while I was there.
Well, at least you had some form of entertainment.
Yeah, I would probably die if I didn't. But let's move on to the news of this week. So let's start with the crappiest piece of news. So there's an Overwatch player known as Dream Casper, his real name Jonathan Sanchez, who has been suspended from his team. He plays for the Boston Uprising because it seems that he has been having some relationships with a girl that is 14 years old. It isn't completely obvious from what I've been able to find whether they actually like engaged in any intimate behavior. The thing I saw was like a tweet image of their conversation where he was like, "Oh, you should call me daddy," which was cringy as fuck.
Oh man.
But yeah, I think there's only one statement to make here. Don't have relationships with minors.
Yeah.
And while, the thing is, like, relationships with minors on the edge of being a minor are always, like, weird. Because, for example, here in Czech Republic, she would not be a minor anymore. But
yeah,
in America, she is. So always respect the laws of your country and don't be a dumbass.
Yeah.
Just wait. If you really want her, then just wait. Otherwise, find a girl that is of age.
Yeah.
Or a boy that is of age. I don't give a shit whether you like girls or boys.
Or into another country that allows that kind of crap.
Yeah. You know what's most interesting? Can you guess the country that has the lowest age of consent in Europe? I will give you a piece of advice. It's really not a big country.
Not really a big country. I can think of a few, but just save some time.
Oh, guess one.
I would say, just throw one out there. I would say Portugal.
No. It's the smallest country in the world. It's Vatican. The age of consent in Vatican is 12.
Dang.
It's like, what? Why? I understand why they just haven't upgraded their consent laws since like the 16th century.
Yeah.
But it's still somewhat awkward when you like look everywhere else it's 14, 15, 16. That's like the average. Here in Czech Republic it's 15. But just consent laws are super weird when it comes to age. I actually told the story during the gaming news, but in high school we used to have a sexualog, like a psychologist who was specialized in sex stuff, come into our class pretty often because he was friends with one of the families. And he told us a story about a girl that was 15, and you know, she had a party for her birthday, and her parents went away, and she got raped before midnight by the guys. But after midnight, she was somewhat drunk, and she actually decided she liked it, so she had sex with them again after midnight.
What?
And she got arrested because after midnight she was of age and they weren't. So she was essentially... This is why, you know, age of consent laws are super weird, because they just never really account for all the situations. Obviously, nothing really happened to her, but, you know, still being arrested for statutory rape, just... And even though she was raped, like, 2 hours before, it's like, laws are weird.
Yeah.
Okay, and speaking of things that are weird, let's go on to the next piece of news. The newest fad on YouTube.
Oh, man.
Strip Fortnite.
Yeah.
Essentially what it is it's some streamer taking a piece of clothing off for every kill they get, or somebody who they are watching gets. Usually the streamer is a woman, and it's a great business idea. I will give them that.
Yeah.
It's like perfect. But on the other hand, it's pretty obviously breaching many of the rules set up by YouTube.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the vast majority of audiences watching Fortnite will be underage. So that's it. What do you think of this thing? Because to me, it's just baffling.
Well, I would say, hey, if you get some views and get some pay, go for it. But I'll say this: they're kind of treading a thin line here of what they can and cannot show.
Yeah. So obviously they have to work very carefully to not breach either YouTube's content policies or Twitch policies, because both of them have pretty strict rules when it comes to nudity. Like, I know on Twitch you just can't show nipples, whether they're male or female. Just, you know, showing nipples will get you banned like within 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this thing will die off pretty quickly, because they aren't actually going naked. You know, they have large amounts of clothing on them, so they always have something to take off.
Yeah.
And while kids are dumb, they aren't that dumb.
Yeah.
YouTube itself has already deleted about 50 channels for doing this. So be very careful if you're going to do something like this.
Yeah, or I'll say this: if you don't feel like having someone strip for you or strip yourself, do something that's equally as crazy but doesn't breach the guidelines of YouTube.
Yeah, like it's been like the oldest thing. Just take a shot of alcohol every time you get a kill.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, you would be pretty drunk.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Like 50 games in a row playing this, you would probably be taken to the hospital.
God. Oh, man.
Okay, let's go on to a bit more serious piece of news. Let's move on to South Korea, where their equivalent of the FTC, the Fair Trade Commission, gave almost a $1 million fine to a company over loot crates. The company who was hit the hardest is called Nexon Korea. It's one of the biggest free-to-play giants in the world. And they got a fine of $885,000.
Dang.
So that's a pretty big fine. So obviously they haven't gotten it because they have been using loot crates. Those aren't necessarily bad. The reason they got it is there was an event where if you bought a crate, you would also get a piece of a puzzle. And there were 16 pieces of the puzzle, and it was presented like you had an equal chance to get each piece of the puzzle. But that came out not to be true. So they're getting this fine over not clearly disclosing what the odds for getting the pieces of the puzzle were. And I think this is a pretty like Asian thing. Because in Asia you do have to disclose the odds of getting something. I remember this happening to Hearthstone when it released in China. As before that, it wasn't really known like what the odds for getting rare and epic and legendary cards were, and they had to release them for China.
Yeah.
So I think this is really an Asian thing. In Europe or America, it would probably just not be a thing at all. Okay. What do you think of this fine? Do you think it is a fair fine, or do you think it's too high, too low? Do you think it should even be a fine?
I would say it makes a good deterrent for companies doing that crap in the future over there in South Korea. So.
Yeah, the thing is, I think they probably still made much more money than they actually were fined.
Yeah.
But do you think that this thing should be fined at all?
Well, I don't know how laws work over there in South Korea, so.
Yeah, that's a big question. Yeah.
Yeah. If it breached, of course, they must have breached some law over there. So, hey.
Yeah, they probably did.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to a somewhat old piece of news, in a way, because it's about Donkey Kong, the old school arcade game, where one of its record holders was stripped of his position because it seems, well, it was actually proven that he was cheating. His name is Billy Mitchell. He was holding a few of the big records on the original arcade game. But a member of Twin Galaxies, which is the site that essentially aggregates all of these world records in old school games in speedrunning, named Jeremy Young, who can be found at Xelnia on Twitter, he filed a dispute against his records because Young argued that the hardware from the original arcade cannot produce the board transition images shown in the recordings, and that they were actually done through an emulator which is forbidden to be used for these records. It actually took a few months of testing, debating, research, etc., and the dispute has been now accepted, and Mitchell's scores have been removed. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good thing for the gaming community at large.
Yeah.
That we can actually find our cheaters even like years later on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there really isn't that much to this piece of news. It isn't something many people will be necessarily interested in unless you're like a speedrunner or really into world records.
Or if you like old school games.
Yeah. By the way, I've been actually getting into like watching. There's a series of new videos on YouTube. It's a guy talking about how world records in speedruns were done over time. Like it's like an hour-long video about how, let's say, Zelda Ocarina of Time was, first it was somebody like beating it in 3 hours. Then a glitch was found and he beat it in an hour, and now people can beat it in like 16 minutes.
Yeah.
And it goes through the process, explains all the glitches, and it's actually pretty interesting to watch. So if you're into that sort of thing, I don't remember the name of the channel, but you can probably easily find it if you want on YouTube. Okay, let's move on to the next piece of news. This one is mainly for you, as it doesn't apply to PC that much. But the FTC in America is warning console makers about warranty restrictions. Well, it's not warning necessary console makers, it's warning pretty much everybody who has these sort of warranty restrictions.
Yeah.
But what it essentially is an extension of a law that is called the right to repair, as you essentially should have the right to repair your stuff, and you don't necessarily have to be forced to use the original parts or like original warranties.
Yeah.
So I'll let you take a spin on this, because this one is more geared towards you.
Yeah. Well, me personally, like I know one of the companies that's geared towards is Sony, because they have like a sticker on the back of the PS4, and if you remove that before your warranty's up, your warranty is void after you remove that sticker.
Yeah, as far as I understand, these stickers are essentially illegal.
Yeah. But yeah, in all honesty though, like for me right now, I've had my PS4 for like almost 5 years come November, and my warranty is well over, so really that really does not apply to me, but it will apply to me and other people come the next generation, because if they do that crap again and our system breaks, whatever, we got to fix it or not void the warranty. So yeah, I think what they're doing here is warning companies like that. I think that's a good thing for the consumer.
Yeah, for me, it's not really about consoles. As you know, I'm not a console fan at large. But let's say with mobile phones, with cell phones, there it applies as well, because let's say Apple. Apple is like the biggest company that voids all of this. If you want to have your warranty, you need to go to Apple directly to have your device repaired, and it usually costs way much more money than it would cost like on a local service shop.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. I do too.
Okay, then let's move on to the next piece of news. This one, I'm completely unsure what to think of this. So there's a vigilante group of women in Counter-Strike Go who want to go after trolls and abusers in game. They are called bully hunters. So on the one hand, this seems like the only really viable way to get rid of people who are toxic in gaming. Just beat them, be better than them, and ignore them. My bigger question is how effective this strike team can be.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they are not good at Counter-Strike Global Offensive, because they very likely are. But the bigger question is like, let's say you report somebody's being mean to you in a game. How long before they get connected into the game? How long before they kill the person in game? Can they actually camp their bodies, etc.? I'm not sure about that. But I'm gonna say I actually like this initiative.
Yeah.
I would much rather see this rather than like bans for people who are being toxic.
Yeah.
Because while I don't like toxic people, and I meet a lot of them, especially in Rocket League, as that's pretty much the only online game I'm still playing, but I don't want them to get banned. I want them to get wrecked, to be blunt. I just want to be better than them and beat them and show them that, yeah, you can talk smack, but I'm just going to be better than you. And if this is the goal of bully hunters, then I like that. But
yes,
I'm sort of afraid that it will eventually just fall into them being toxic themselves.
Yeah, really.
And I'm not sure how that could be rectified if that happens.
Well, then the bully hunters need the hunters to hunt them.
Yeah, the bully hunters.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to two pieces of news, actually, that are somewhat interconnected. As Steam, the gaming platform, is tweaking its privacy settings for finally, after years, getting a feature we've been waiting for. We're going to be able to be invisible when we're playing. But that's actually like the least important part in my personal opinion. The bigger piece of news here is the fact that most of the information that is now publicly visible will be defaultly set to invisible. Which, in effect, affects Steam Spy, one of the largest gaming databases available, that has information like how many games were created that year, how many were sold, how much was each game played, etc., etc. And because most of the analytics tools they were used will not be able to work with the new Steam privacy settings, it essentially means that Steam Spy is going dead unless they can figure out some deal with Valve.
Yeah.
That sucks in my opinion, because I really enjoyed reading like statistics from Steam Spy. Do you think it's a good thing that these statistics will not be as precise as they were in the past?
Yeah, I know some people might choose to keep theirs public, but since it'll be on default, I don't see that many people trying to undo the default settings. So
yeah, the vast majority of people are lazy and they just won't give a shit. Well, too bad. Hopefully they can find some workaround.
Yeah.
Okay, next piece of news actually is about the Sega Genesis Mini, which has been revealed to be the next classic thing coming to the market. So what do you think of the Sega Genesis Mini?
Alright, first off, I'll say this. Hopefully they won't be like Nintendo. Hopefully they have enough in stock, so at least anyone that wants one can get one.
So as far as we right now know, it will be only releasing in Japan right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that if there is enough of a demand in Japan, they will make also one for the international market. But we really don't know much about it. We don't know what the hardware will be, what the games included will be, what the price will be. But my bigger complaint is I don't want to see another nostalgia machine.
Yeah, and not to mention, it was a few weeks back, Sega, they actually announced Genesis Collection for like PC, Xbox One, and PS4.
Yeah.
And them releasing a Sega Mini now, it's kind of counterintuitive.
Well, it's not really. It's like if you want that true experience, you buy the Genesis Mini.
Yeah.
And if you just don't care about emulation, you get it on PC or on console. But for me, it's just, I would prefer if companies brought new things to the market instead of bringing these old things from the past. It's just nostalgia is nice, but I'm over it at this point.
Yeah, nostalgia is a powerful thing. It's a seller too, so.
Yeah, and I think we as consumers need to start showing companies that we would prefer new things rather than old things. Okay, and let's move on to our last piece of news, which is about a new piece of malware. It's actually a piece of ransomware. If you don't know what ransomware is, it's essentially makes everything on your hard drives encrypted, and you cannot access it usually until you pay some Bitcoin somewhere. But this piece of ransomware is quite different, as it requires you to play Unknown's Battlegrounds to unlock your stuff. Oh, it really doesn't. It just, there's a code and you can easily get the code. But if you have PUBG in your computer, you just need to play it for like 3 seconds and your computer will get unlocked.
Yeah.
This is somebody trolling as heck.
Yeah. The only question I have is, what happens to the people that don't have PUBG? Did they have to go and buy it just to get the thing off or something?
Oh, we wouldn't be able to install it, but you can just easily put this. There's a code there.
Oh, okay.
And you can easily, what's the opposite of encrypt? Decrypt your computer. It's really a troll. I've heard a few conspiracy theories that it's PUBG preparing for when Fortnite is just so much more successful and they don't have people playing.
Oh, man.
So, that would be hilarious, but I doubt that it is PUBG Corporation doing this.
Yeah.
It would go against everything that would make sense to them.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is the end of the news, unless you have something you would like to add.
Nope.
Okay. Then I guess it's time for recommendations. You know what? Start this time. You got bigger ones.
First I would like to recommend Yakuza 6. It comes on Tuesday. It's coming out for PS4 for right now. It's on discount for $53. So.
And Yakuzas are like adventure GTA games, right?
Yeah.
And really weird GTA games.
Yeah.
Really Japanese GTA games. I think that's the proper way to call it.
Well, I would say it's not. Well, there's parts of that I like GTA, but other than that, it's its own game. It's like parts GTA, but with beat 'em ups, and you can't drive cars.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to first recommend a game that is named Hero Academy 2, which obviously is the second iteration of Hero Academy, and it's like a mix between a strategy game, card collectible game, deck building game, and it's free to play. At least the original was. I'm going to assume this one will be as well, and it's coming to early access on the 17th, so in 2 days. And the thing I liked about the original one is the fact that you could essentially play this like over weeks, because the way the original played, I'm not sure about the second one, but the original played like this, where you would essentially send out a move to your friend, and he would respond to it, send the move to you, and this could happen through like, you could make one move a day. It would be completely fine. It was like playing chess through post. It was somewhat similar to that, and I really enjoyed that format, and I would love to actually see this one appear on mobile, as I think this is a good game for mobile.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was like, is this thing coming to mobile?
I think the original... Let me quickly check. I think the original one is available on Android. Hero Academy. So it's on Steam. Yeah, it's available on Android, iOS, and Windows. So at least the original one. So if you want, you can try out the original one. It's actually quite fun. Okay, what else do you get to recommend other than Yakuza?
Next up is God of War, the newest one that's coming out for PS4 this Friday for $60.
Oh yeah, God of War. It's another one of those beat 'em up spectacle fighters.
Yeah, but well, from what I heard, they actually changed up the formula quite a bit in this one. So, in fact, the Xbox boss actually congratulated Sony on God of War. So
yeah, I saw that. That was actually like a nice gesture, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I can't wait to see how it plays compared to the previous games, because I've been playing this game since like 2007. So
yeah, you were still a kid back then.
Yeah, I was like, I think I was like around, I was 12 at the time when I first played God of War.
That's insane when you think about that.
Yeah, especially how freaking how grotesque and violent the game was. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Okay, and the second game I think might be interesting. This one I'm less sure whether it will be good, but it's called Pixel Punk XL. And it's like a old school first person shooter with roguelike mechanics. It's coming out on the 20th.
Awesome.
I think it's going to be fairly cheap, as it seems like it's created by a single person and published by him as well. I'm actually going to ask him if he would be so kind and provide me with a review copy.
Yeah. And
that's all I actually got to recommend this week. What about you? Do you got anything else you would like to recommend?
One thing I am going to try out whenever I get the chance is I know that Nintendo Labo's coming out this Friday as well, so I might give that a try too.
Nah, that's not really my product, but I'm actually looking forward to hearing about it from you.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what it's like. So
hopefully it's at least semi decent.
Yeah.
Well, and that slowly brings us to the end. So I guess it's time for shilling. You want to begin?
Yeah. You can find me on YouTube as Tygergamer. You can find me on Steam at Tygergamer.
And you can find me on YouTube as Kralizec Gaming and on Steam as Kralizec. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribing to the channel. If you are watching on Steam, maybe you do want to give us an upvote and follow the blog. Either way, be sure to leave a comment and be sure to tune in tomorrow for the Gaming News Series returns.
Yep.
So, see you guys later with more gaming content.
Yeah, have a good one.